Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the 15th episode of Money Trees. I am your host, Khufu. Today's guest shares many of my professions: producer, audio engineer, manager, junior therapist. Welcome, my guy, Michael Sims, to the show.
What's good? What's good, fam?
Oh, man.
That last one was new.
Come on, man.
I'll put that on my CV.
You already know, man. We be solving problems that we didn't even know were going to be problems before the sun came up, but we haven't slept. Anyway, that didn't make sense, but it does make sense if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Getting two inside.
Two inside. What up, G? How you living?
I'm good. How you doing?
Man, can't complain. I'm going to be honest. I'm pretty excited that this snowstorm was not a snowstorm.
Yeah, that was crazy. I was out when it was snowing. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get home. But
the way they made it sound, it was like we were all about to be snowed in. All I saw was rain.
Yeah. Yeah, I was on the highway and like you had the signs that were saying incoming snowstorm. Like slow speed.
I hate those, bro. It's so much impending doom. Just like, please, guys. I'm trying to get back right now.
Apocalypse in 5 minutes. Get inside.
Where in the world are you at right now?
I'm in Jersey. I'm home.
Oh, heck yeah. So I tweeted about it earlier, but in preparation for this episode, I was just thinking about how we had probably one of my top 5 wildest weeks of life ever on that impromptu trip to Dubai a couple months back.
Oh man!
Even saying that, right? Impromptu trip to Dubai. It sounds wild. Can you tell the people a little bit about how your journey there started and how, or I guess the question I'm getting at is like, how long before the actual trip to Dubai did you know you were going?
Oh, really? Okay. So, and I tell this story. So I was working a day job at the mall actually, and it was what was it? It was a Saturday night, right? It was a Saturday night. I'm closing up. I get a call. From at 9:00 that night as I'm closing up. Pack your bag. You got a flight in the morning. So
shit like that.
I get this call. I'm like, what? It's like, we got a writing camp in Dubai. I need you there tomorrow. Your flight's at 11. This is 9:00 at night, and my flight is 11 a.m. that next morning. So legit, like, not even a day I get.
In the middle of a pandemic, trying to figure out how we was going to get COVID shots. Because mine is similar. I think I found out at 5 p.m. the day before that the engineer wasn't going to be able to make it. And they were like, yo, you need to go get COVID tested right now. We need to fly out. And I'm just like, all right, let's make it happen. Shoot. I ain't never been that far east. But how crazy was that though? The fact that we were able to even get cleared within 24 hours. I didn't think it was gonna happen for me.
Yo, I was stressing till I got to the gate.
So with mine was wild, right? Because what ended up happening was we called some service and this person literally met me in the middle of Midtown and gave me my COVID test on the street. I got out of the subway station, walked up to the corner, was at the Dwayne Reed. Well, it's not really Midtown, but by Columbus Circle, right by Central Park. And the lady gave me my COVID test right there and then bounced. And then I had the results maybe 2 hours before the flight. I was shook, bro.
Nah.
But so I kind of want to keep on that theme just because that was such a dope week. And I think it set us up for coming back and just even with that experience. But I felt like post that trip, I really dove into Web3, and those two things had nothing to do with each other. But I just want to highlight it because it was fire. So the flight was ill. If anyone has ever has the option to fly Emirates, this is an endorsement, a glowing endorsement. I have never ever gotten on an airline and been treated so well. It was amazing. They had all the custom what's the thing, sleep mask for your eyes,
Yeah,
custom
that the
earplugs, the
mask,
headphones were nice.
earplugs,
You
like the
know, it was
blankets were
unlimited
cool.
alcohol.
Yeah, I knew.
I
But you
definitely did.
slept through most of it.
Well, how you think, man? I was like, please bring me the Henny and Coke. Thank you. And I had the whole row to myself, bro. That was fire.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
like, it really felt like I was living full first class.
yeah.
And it's funny, I
Lavish.
did you check the prices on
Oh
that
yeah, I
flight,
did because
first
they
class?
send you like an email before you get on the plane to ask you if you want to upgrade, and I saw that upgrade price.
Please don't casually ask me for $15,000. Like
Exactly.
I don't need that notification on my Gmail, yo.
The day before.
Oh man, you're like, you know what? I do think I'll take this. Man, and then so Dubai was wild because I wasn't used to mall culture. And
Mm.
I don't even know if that's using the right term, but everything seems centered around the malls. Like all of the shopping, all of the stores, even from groceries to actual, fashion. And so that was kind of mind blowing because we spent so much damn time there back and forth. Shout out Carrefour, which is
Yeah.
the Dubai version of, what do you want to say, like Walmart?
Oh yeah, Walmart.
But it's more fire than Walmart. I don't know, man. Like there was an energy to
I
go
think
into
that's like a
Carrefour.
cultural thing because I think like because we know Walmart employees don't care, but like the Carrefour employees were like actually on it.
Yo, we at no point checked out our own cart. It was crazy. Every time we would walk to
Yeah,
the front, there would be some employee who felt like they came sprinting out of nowhere, grab your cart, loaded up everything from your cart, and was like, "Here, walk it out to your car." They let you push your groceries straight from the middle of the mall to the car. Like that was the time.
yeah. Look left and somebody's off with your cart checking you out.
What was one of your favorite moments from that trip?
Favorite moments from the trip. Oh, that's a tough question. That's a tough question. Do yours. Say yours first, cause
Oh, okay. Look at you. You flipped it back over. You were like, "Hey, bro, you want me
yeah,
to?"
cause
Okay. Favorite moment, man. It was surreal getting to be in that studio, and I'll tell two things. One that was like my favorite funny moment, and then my overall just favorite moment. But we're here. We were setting up the house for everyone to pull up, and we went to the mall. We went to the mall because we had forgot something, and they
yeah.
have those little kiosks that are there, and the people at the kiosk are hella aggressive when trying to sell stuff to you. And
Oh, I think
you
I
know,
know.
yeah, you know where I'm going with this. So the mall is huge. It is a massive mall. I promise you. Like, I've never been to the Mall of America, but I imagine that size-wise, this must be what the Mall of America felt like. I felt like I would walk for hours in there.
Yeah,
So we're lost at one point, and we're like, "Yo, we got to get back to the house. Got to get back to the house." And so I'm stopping, and I asked someone for directions because I still hadn't figured it out yet. This is literally the first 18 hours of us being there, still low key jet lag, and I'm asking
yeah.
for directions, and homie is like, "Let me see your arm. Like, do you have a second?" And I'm just like, "Damn, like, will you tell me the directions if I say yes?" He's like, "Yes, yes." And so I give him my arm, and he bathes me
They
in cologne.
showers you in cologne. Cause I saw you walk over to the guy and I saw you put your arm on the guy spray, and it wasn't like a little spray, like he sprayed your arm like.
He emptied the bottle on my arm across my chest, and I'm just like, bruh,
And I'm
no
like, cause I saw him
way.
get you the first time. It's like, oh, he got him again. Oh, he got him again. I don't know how. It's like when you watch Ricky get shot in Boys in the Hood. That's what I saw with the cologne.
Please. So now I'm waiting for a bunch of artists that I've never met before that just flew in from SA to come to this house. We got a fire mansion on the Palm, and it's like
The
the vibes
pinnacle
are
of
crazy.
luxury.
the pinnacle of luxury. Shout out to Samir because, well, you know what? I'm gonna circle back to that. I don't want to make this whole entire thing about Dubai, but I genuinely don't mind if it is because that was such a just again fire life experience. So now I am drenched in this cologne. And I mean, it's at the point where my eyes were watering from when he sprayed me. But when we got back in the car, I was like choking a little bit on how strong this scent
Oh
was.
man.
And I'm like, okay, damn. I'll just wash my I'll just instead of going back to the hotel and changing because there wouldn't be time, let me
Yeah.
just wash my shirt at the house. And they had a crazy washer and dryer where it was all in one. And so then I throw my shirt in the washer and come back like 45 minutes later, boom, throw it on dry, come back another 30 minutes later,
It
and
won't open.
it won't fucking open,
It
bruh.
ain't open.
And now I'm shirtless. We got like 15 people about to pull up to the house. And I'm just like, there's no way. Like, how am I about to run a session topless with a
Yeah.
bunch of people who don't know me? And it got to a point where I
Like this
accepted
was your
it.
first time meeting Tyler too, so you're going.
Literally, man. Like, shout out to Tyler, shout out to the whole SA team. But I'm like, I'm about to meet this girl that's almost a decade younger than me and try to run sessions for her. Like, it felt nuts. And the wild thing was, we met the dude who was renting out the Airbnb to us, and he told us that this was the pinnacle of luxury. Mind you, I'm not gonna knock the house. It was great, but it wasn't the pinnacle. It was luxurious, but I don't know. It was somewhere in the middle of the middle of the mountain. It was not the peak of it. But anyway, I end up being able to get the washer and dryer open, and then I throw the shirt on, and everyone comes in. It was such a dope first night. Stayed up till the freaking sun came up. Got to see the sunrise over the palm. Like it was
heat.
awesome. Yo, the heat is nuts, bro. The heat is insane.
It was wild. It was 105 that day. Like the day we landed, 105.
It's a heat that, and it felt like, you know how on Apple Weather it shows you, or iPhone weather, whatever the app is called. When we landed, it said it felt like 129.
Yeah.
And I've never ever seen my thermometer, or my thermometer up so high. But that was my funniest moment. I would say, like, I could not believe the trip started off like that, but it all worked out. My favorite moment is, and it sounds cliche, man, and I don't know if you got a chance to do it in the extra week you were there, because I had to like force it. But we went out to the sand dunes, and it felt spiritual. It really, really did. And there was like, I don't know what I expected, but I got to ride an ATV. The sun sets so fast because you're on the equator. And that's another thing that I just wasn't prepared for, because we got out there a little bit late, a little bit of traffic heading out of the city. Because where you actually ride the sand dunes is an hour outside of Dubai proper. It was another one of the Emirates, because there's like 7 Emirates, if I'm not. No, I don't want to mess this up, but it's another one of the regions, and so we went out to that one, got to ride the quad in the desert, watch the sunset into the desert. It was insane, man. It was so beautiful. It was it was just beautiful. It was beautiful. I wish I had more words to describe it. I think the being able to stop and get the pictures was incredible. Being out there with my younger cousins and just experiencing that with them. It's one of those moments that you will just never forget. So that was my highlight. And it was wild because we did so much dope stuff, met so many great people, worked with so many talented artists.
Yeah.
But I think just being out in nature and seeing that, because that's a landscape my eyes have never got to like be a part of. I've never really been out in the desert, in the dunes or something else. So yeah, that was my favorite moment.
Yeah. My funniest moment was, so after you left, we were back. We were there for like another 5 days after that. So, and you remember Corey? So Corey is a singer songwriter from London, but he's first generation, and his parents are from Jamaica. like just like me. So we were just like, the first day, like we linked up, we talked about that and whatever. So then it came to the second week, and one day he just texted me, "Hey, see if they got like Jamaican food here or whatever." And I was like, I didn't think about that, Jamaican food in Dubai. All right, I'll look it up. There's a place 45 minutes out from the hotel. And like it was like slow. It was like slow that day. It was like around 7 o'clock, around 7 o'clock. So I text him back. He's like, "Yeah, there's a place 45 minutes out. You want to go?" He's like, "I got nothing else to do, so we go." So we jump in the taxi. We head to this spot. We get in there. It's like real Jamaicans in there, and I was like, I did not. I was just assuming it was just gonna be like, just people with like whatever the Jamaican themed food is, but no, it's like real Jamaicans there, like authentic accents, everything. And so we sit down. We eat, we're talking, like we're playing music, and it's real authentic. And then we get like, I think we each got 2 cups of like this rum punch, and like with like Ray and nephew, Jamaican rum, and that rum's like 64%, like 64% alcohol. So we each get 2 cups. Me and Corey go back to the hotel, twisted off this rum punch. Like we get back, we get back into the studio, and like I had to give something to Tricky, one of the producers, and it's all over. I'm the only one who could make it to the studio. Corey couldn't even make it there. He had to go straight to his room because he just couldn't. He couldn't get himself together. And
Yo, not to cut you off, but I remember, I think I saw Corey's story that day, and he was posting the rum punch, and I'm like, oh, nah, y'all are getting active.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you, like that was it for Corey for the rest of the day. After that Instagram post, that was it for him. He went back to his room. I went to go check on people in the studio, and then I was like calling Corey just to make sure he was okay, just making sure this man's not like on the floor of his hotel room, like in his own vomit or whatever. Like I'm calling, I'm calling him, and I'm not hearing anything. So then I go to his room and I knock on the door and I yell like, "Corey, you good?" And he's like, "Hey." And I'm like, all right, he's alive. I'll check back in an hour or so. Man, go back to the studio, say everybody good, everybody got what they need, because I'm done. Y'all need anything, y'all have to call me. I can't sit here for this. So
Oh, man.
that night I don't even know how the sessions went because it was over for me and Corey.
You were like, yeah, fam, this is my night to have some fun. Because yo, we landed and got to work, and we were working literally from sunrise, from the time we got up until the time the sun came up.
Yeah.
And we'll just leave it at that. You know, we've been chopping it for a minute on the Dubai piece. My idea behind that was, and me and you got together after Dubai. I remember you pulled up here in Brooklyn, and we sat and chopped and just really kind of reflected on that experience. And it's a pandemic right now.
Yeah.
There's this crazy kind of new technology, not crazy kind of, but there's this new technology that's sweeping the nation, sweeping the world. And it's providing all these new opportunities, and it's all based in digital, virtual, online kind of sphere. And we had just came back from this momentous physical IRL experience, and to me, it put a battery in my back. And I think that I'm always charged up. But there was something about that trip that was just like, yo, you can't replicate this.
Yeah.
And in order to go on trips like this and have experiences like this, you need to be doing whatever it is you're doing at a very, very, very high level. And I think that after that trip, you can really look at that. I would say, because that was, for 2 weeks in September, or like or whatever, that was like a week and a half. For me, I came back and it was full Web3 NFTs. And not that I ignored everything else, but this space came into my purview in a way that, like, oh no, it wasn't off to the side. This was now a part of my journey. And I understood that these types of Dubai trips would become more and more frequent with the development of this new opportunity. And I want to add a kind of caveat to that, where while Dubai was an incredible place, it was sad at points, because you remember, and I still talk. I literally talked with him 2 days ago. There was a man who worked at the hotel who had his own sand art shop, and he did magic tricks for us whenever we would come down and be in the lobby, and put us onto the right excursions, and was just a really, really dope local guide. But we became fast friends, and he would tell the stories about the kind of underbelly at Dubai, or in Dubai. When I say the underbelly, it's the fact that, he has to rent a room. And not even rent a room, he has to rent a bed in a room. And despite the fact that he works in a luxurious hotel like this, the pay still isn't great. And the reason why we get such great service at spots like Carrefour is because there's so many people competing for work, that anyone who gets a job has to go above and beyond. Yep. To keep that job. They have to deliver this insane level of customer service. And while I was having a blast, and because we had the mansion, but nobody stayed at the mansion. Like, everyone had a room at the Sofitel, crazy balcony, crazy pool. Like, it was this insane, luxurious experience. But a lot of the people that made it possible were people that were putting in, literal blood, sweat, and tears so we could have that experience. And that kind of duality, I came home with that, and I thought on that, man. I really, really, because I loved Imad. Like, he is such a great dude. Gave us a bunch of free art pieces. Made the custom one for my grandmother. Did a custom painting for me, and I was just like, damn, this is so genuine. But at the same time, yeah, it was a little sad, because I felt like, how could I? Well, there's a quote from Westworld where it was like, these violent delights have violent. I'm butchering the quote, but it just made me think about the realities of luxury and what it takes for certain things to exist. And I started thinking about Web3. I started thinking about NFTs. I started thinking how everyone says NFTs are terribly bad for the environment, and that's not a conversation for now. But I will say, we should just look up the rest of the things that we do to the environment and compare them in scale. And it's not like, oh, just because we're doing bad over here, we should do more bad. But there is far more, in my opinion, far more good than bad that's going to come out of this blockchain technology. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. But my point was, seeing that duality in Dubai and thinking how I wanted more of these experiences, but less at the cost of other humans' kind of survival and livelihoods. And I really started thinking about, okay, what kind of resources and tools and communal assets can I use this technology to build? And that's been my guiding mission for the past few months in the space, because I do want to be able to travel and experience things like the sand dunes, or go see, I want to go see the pyramids. My name is Khufu. I want to go see Khufu's pyramids. And at the same time, I want to provide for people that may not have the same opportunities. I want to put other people in the positions that I now have by, providing them resources or tools, yada, 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 yada. And again, a bit of a tangent here, but that was why, when I thought about our episode, I just wanted to kind of reminisce on Dubai, because it was such a monumental experience for me, but also a mindset shifter. And so, yeah, let's we can. It's funny. I said that these are only meant to be 30 minutes, and we coming up on that right now. I want to ask you a few questions. The idea of Money Trees is, I'm surrounded by all these really, really talented people, and I want them to come on this show and plant trees, and we can come back and look and see how they've cared for and nurtured the ideas represented as trees that they planted on this show. And so I mentioned earlier, me and you out of everyone that I know, we probably have the most parallels. In almost everything I do, you do. And we do them in similar fashions, albeit different tastes and, different ages. I'm a few years older than you. But it's still those similarities. It helped us connect. Like, it was funny.
Yeah.
We both were incognito in Dubai, where it was like, yo, we have to take pictures. Like, we can't travel anymore to all these fire places that we go and not take any pictures. But we're big on helping other people and saying like, yeah, no, it's not about me. Like, I don't need to flick up. I want to make sure everybody has what they need.
Yeah, just playing the background role.
Yeah, but
even,
we
but yeah, I think I know where you're going. But even I was, because even I was thinking about it, like maybe towards the end of my trip, and then like when I got back, it was just like doing the background stuff is cool and making sure we get it and making sure everything works for everyone is cool. But it's like we got our own names and our own stuff that we want to do, like and how we want to represent ourselves. So like
exactly.
even a goal I made for myself is to like do more for like I've always fallen into my team and done the best for my team, but it's like it's gotta be like Mike. It's gotta be about Mike or whatever Mike's creating.
Because that will help your team. And that's one thing that I think it was disconnected for me because in Web 2, in Web 2, with traditional forms of social media, I always felt like being an influencer would be a selfish thing to do for the artist and people that I wanted to support. Because if I felt that I made it only about myself, excuse me, I felt that if I only made it about myself or if I made it predominantly focused on me, how would I be able to build up all of these other kind of people and resources? And I just didn't understand the landscape. And I didn't like it. Like Instagram and Facebook, I felt like those were things that if I built up my name, it would be brands associating a value with me. And I'd be giving up a lot of the ownership of my own content, a lot of my own ability to just kind of move how I want. And again, tapping in with that Web3 thing is this space is opening up those doors that didn't exist. Where on a show like Money Trees, I can create NFTs with a super ill artist and then offer the guest a percentage of the profits or a percentage of the actual NFTs that sell so they can come on the show and they make bread. And these types of things were for sure possible in Web 2, but it's presented differently where I don't need to worry about the, hosting on Shopify and then dealing with any
Yeah.
of that. It's like, yo, I'm minted directly to the blockchain, have my own smart contract, and this project will be something that can help me really provide value to people long term by creating collectibles, helping me tell the story a different way. It's not a massive, massive shift, but it is a shift. And so
Yeah.
there's a lot more opportunities for us to do things that, like, if Money Trees becomes one of the biggest shows in the world, then it's a perfect tool for me to debut any project I'm working on with any new artist. I've created
Yeah.
this platform and the onus and the ownership is on me to tell the message and to create the value. It's not up to how much XYZ brand is willing to pay me based off my engagement or based off what the algorithm is showing to other people. The idea of developing these, not followings, but communities where
Yeah.
I don't want followings. I want to be able to interact and engage and provide value to these people that are coming and saying, like, all right, well, why should we fuck with Koof? Oh, he's got Money Trees. Oh, he's got the Web3 blueprint. Oh, he's building this really, really ill artist project called the 11 Lights Hotel. Like, oh, okay. I see where he's creating value at in this space at multiple points. I see his track record. That's one thing I talked about on one of the last episodes is the blockchain is immutable. Anyway, Mike, there's so much that we could fucking chop on because how similar we are. I don't want to make this all about
Yeah.
me. I do want to dive more in on what's been your experience in Web3. What are some of the things that are exciting you about the space and ways that you think you'll be able to grow as an artist, as a person, in utilizing this new technology?
Well, biggest thing like the community base, like building the building a community base. I've been just looking through like a different NFT communities, and I've been just trying to think about like like how to build that community without like this like we see these big figures of numbers going around, like the apes selling for like millions of dollars. So I've just been thinking like, how do we get like the regular person, the lay person who maybe just learned about Web3, just got into it, just maybe just heard about it, how we can get those people to get together and build like a true community that like you said, provides value for one another and provides like brotherhood for one another.
I've been. Oh no, keep going.
All right, you want to step in?
I just wanted to add one thing on community, and this thesis isn't fully fleshed out yet. I expect in the next couple of weeks, maybe sooner, I'll be able to share it. But it comes down to I don't believe it's sustainable to build thousands, tens of thousands of individual, maybe tens of thousands is the wrong number, but it needs to scale proportionally. And these individual communities are building horizontally instead of vertically. I think that it makes more sense for there to start being communities that are centered around shared interest,
Mm-hmm.
and there are projects that fall under these shared interests, and you become exposed to these sets of projects through your shared interest. Because I
Yeah.
think that the last piece I'll
Oh
say
yeah,
on this.
because I found certain projects like that. So
Yeah.
there's I just want to give a shout out to this one because I really love them. They're called Crypto Rasta, and like I talked about it before in Jamaica. So it's a it's like a NFT collection based on reggae culture. So like the people within that community are people who are like into reggae and the culture that surrounds that. And I feel projects like that are dope. Like I saw other NFTs where it was like hip hop based and like all these people with these shared specific interests in these things. As and that's something I would be like that's something I would love to build and work with.
Because I think it would be ill. And so Halik Mall is someone that comes to mind just thinking about
Yeah,
Caribbean culture.
yeah, he's a
And
part of Crypto Rostas too.
look at that. Perfect. So I didn't know that, but that type of overlap makes sense because you can be in the larger culture, the larger community, and then break off into your smaller sections where it might be, his project Holder's Land or a project that
Mm.
you come up with, but there's a bigger kind of umbrella that you're all also helping build. Because I think it becomes a win-win where it's great for the small projects. It's hard maintaining quote unquote communities where
Mm.
to keep that active, to keep content engaged, and for it to not feel empty, you need to have a lot of things going on in there. And I noticed because Discord's the main way that people use to build communities now. If you go into a Discord server with anything over 10,000 people, it becomes really difficult to navigate. There's a
Yeah,
lot happening. If you leave the conversation for 2 hours, you're gone.
yeah,
It's hard for you to pick back up. And so what ends up happening is these people slowly but surely start feeling disconnected from the space, start feeling like, oh, they're not in the in circle the way they used to be. And that's another big thing is the idea of burnout, where if you have to be on it 24/7 without the ability to take any breaks or without feeling like you missed something, you're bound to fail. And so that's going to lead to a lot of these communities eventually fizzing out because people are on it 24/7 right now
hmm
and won't be equipped to deal with the turbulence of when that needs to slow down because a founder gets tired, or even, it's the pandemic, people might get COVID and the community manager is out for a week and doesn't feel like being
yeah,
on the space. And these are little kind of inconveniences, quote unquote, we can say, but I think that it's death by a thousand cuts. And so I love the idea of shared interest community building and finding a way for these projects. Like, I don't think every new project needs its own Discord. It would be really
Yeah.
ill if we could get these types of umbrella discords like Random Character Collective does, or the way was it Larva Labs, the people who made CryptoPunks, they have with autoglyphs and Meebits, where you join their Discord server and all their projects are under it. I know African NFT community, they have that to an extent. 40 Acres DAO, their Discord has that to an extent. Create DAO has that like that level of kind of segmentation. Blurred Lines has that. And so there are projects that are working on it in a way of trying to FWB, another one. FWB did a great article on how their community got large and segmented and how they eventually or how their goal is making sure that it doesn't break off, but how having those vertically built communities is important. So it's ill. I'm going to check out Crypto Rostas when we get out of here because I'm actually not too familiar with that project.
Yeah, it's dope, and they I won't talk too much on specifically them, but they do a lot of like IRL stuff. Like they opened a pop up shop in I think in Brooklyn, yeah, in Brooklyn, where they were like selling actual prints, and then you could meet some of the art, and you could meet some of the artists, and they also are like throwing parties in Miami, based around the whole idea of it.
See, maybe I'm just in denial, but I don't see us going full metaverse. At least not for the next 40 years, unless the world just goes to shit. I think that we need to be outside, man. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love the idea of IRL.
yeah. Like I loved it too. Like when I saw it, like the perfect mix. Or like there's a guy who sells he sells clothing that has like the augmented reality like designs on them,
That
like
could be cold.
based in it is cold. I'm gonna send you a link after this, but it is
Yeah,
cold.
put me on. Because
Yeah,
I think that with wearables and us getting into these glasses, it starts becoming interesting to see what the use cases will be. I just don't want again that could be denial. This could be the Gen Alpha version of OK Boomer.
mm-hmm.
But I need to be outside, man. Like again, I think about the sand dune thing and how that experience made me want to dive in Web3 only so I could help more people achieve wild-ish like this. And that's one of my
Yeah,
favorite pieces about this is you're seeing artists that were not valued appropriately be able to go and get their bags and secure their coin and any other of the cool colloquialisms that we have for going and getting paid as an artist. And I'm always going to support that.
yeah. But to your thing about the metaverse, I don't know, man. Like is life just gonna become a Black Mirror episode where we're all just like, cause you heard about the voice NFTs?
Nah, put me on.
All right, so there's like there's a voice actor, like a popular voice actor for like video games, who's selling NFT of his voice that's like AI. It's like, and he's like AI. I don't know, like the technical ways, but basically you can get his voice to say whatever you want. So then the use of that could be you have your character in the metaverse, and then you're using someone else's voice, or
Man,
instead of
that stuff freaks me out because they did that with Joe Rogan, and I mean, it doesn't really freak
yeah,
me out because I'm still moving forward with it. But because
yeah,
I thought about how wild it would be for people that have a lot of recordings of their voice online, where AI will be able to take all those recordings and replicate your voice and create those deep fakes.
yeah, and that's if they're snatching it. There was a artist, like the voice actor. He sold his voice to a company as an NFT, so that other people could use it for their projects. In case they didn't want to pay for a voice actor, they could use AI with his voice to do all the vocal parts or whatever it is. So theoretically, they could have a podcast with this guy without him being there.
Yo, that is a Black Mirror episode. I love the innovation. I'll say that. I think I'm excited that we're pushing these boundaries because on one hand, you know, is the Matrix that bad? I don't know. I think the alien overlord piece of it
All right,
is
so you take
questionable.
whichever pill Neo took, you're taking the other one.
Nah. What I'm saying is us being used as energy meat sacks. That part is bad, but the idea of and this is spoiler alert, Matrix movies. The
If you
whole
haven't
thing
seen
was
them in the 30 years they've been out.
they said that the original Matrix was a utopia and people went crazy. It was like the humans needed conflict, and I don't know how true that is.
Oh no, that's definitely true
You
because
think so?
yeah, because people find problems like in their everyday life without it being perfect. Like even with things, you ever hear like people who like when things are going too good, they find a problem.
Oh yeah, one of my homies was like that. He would blow up every relationship he had once the girl really started liking him.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people is like whenever things just feel too good or too easy, they just need something. And maybe it's like humans aren't supposed to always feel 100% like secure in whatever they're doing because like it takes away from um
like your
because like I
survival
guess we're
instinct,
naturally
maybe.
supposed to be on our toes in case
Yeah.
of danger, but like humans look for problems. Like
So, and this is clearly not a question that can be correctly answered, but just in your opinion, do you think that that is a nature or a nurture thing? Where if we had a society where nobody was ever exposed to it, would everything just work out? Or like I guess what I'm saying, like, are we naturally inclined? Is conflict human nature? There we go. That's the question.
uh yeah, because human nature is conflict.
Ooh, okay.
You read
I see.
history
I
books.
see. I
History
see you,
books is all
Plato.
conflict.
Let me stop. Yo, but history books are wild, man. Somebody said something the other day that made a lot of sense to me. That was like the reason why we have ghost stories so much is think about the fact glasses weren't invented for thousands of years. So you had bad people just going blind, not being able to see ish. So
Seeing stuff.
I know that has nothing to do with the conflict piece, but technology could change that. So history is filled with tons of conflict and tons of issues, but I would argue a lot of history's issues can pretty much come down to just a lack of communication. And there's also a lot of it that comes down to barbarianism and people being absolutely completely shitty human beings. So I'm not dismissing any of that. But I would say a lot of it does come down to communication and lack of resources, right? Because it's all a competition for resources. And the idea of the Matrix, if you don't have to compete for these resources, I don't know. Clearly, I'm not
the way
fully
I would
with it.
push, and maybe we don't have to stay on this, but the way I would push back on this is that we have billionaires fighting to go to space just to say who did it first. Like lack of resources is not a thing these people have, and they've decided that is their fight.
Well, I think a lot of them are bored. Like that's them. Yeah, I can't. There's another good quote. So 1,000,000 seconds. Oh man, I don't want to get this wrong. I'm either going to be off a day or a year in either one of the directions, but it amounts to something along the lines of 1,000,000 seconds is about 11 days. How long do you think 1,000,000,000 seconds is?
Oh yeah, like the difference between a million and a billion.
Yeah, so a
Yeah.
billion seconds, I think it is 32 years, if I'm not mistaken. So it was like 31 and a half years. And that in perspective is nuts because the idea of having $1,000,000, if either one of us had 1,000,000 liquid in our account right now, we would feel great. We'd be chilling.
If
What
you didn't
are
have
you?
it before, yeah.
that would seem like all the money in the world. The same way when we were kids, $20 used to feel like a lot. I mean, let's not talk about inflation, but that's only 11 days. As far going in the seconds, a million seconds is 11 days. 32 years, we could have been making a dollar a second from the moment both of us were born, and we wouldn't be billionaires. Yeah. That is an unfathomable amount of money. The resources, the lack of or the inequality in wealth distribution is disgusting. But also thinking about that, us as Americans having minimum wage job make something like more than 60% of the world anyway. So yeah, and I don't want to turn this into that conversation.
Yeah.
But I do think that there's a balance somewhere where it's like, okay, maybe that is some of the good in the metaverse is, hey, we couldn't fix this in real life. The system is too broken right now for it to change. So maybe we can create this level or this layer of equality in this new digital world where you can replicate anything infinitely. But then at the same time, I don't know, because NFT prices, oh man, okay, yeah, we're getting into economics.
And the other thing, like you heard about the dude who spent like $1 million to have virtual real estate next to Snoop Dogg?
Yes.
Yeah, so then so if people are spending that type of money, that means we've already created classes in the metaverse, and we're not even all there yet.
That's real, man. That is real, and I think that's a thing too. I try to hold myself accountable with that, but I talk about that balance where there are going to be things that may seem to be priced ridiculous, but it's all value. It's all how much someone is willing to pay for it for the value that is given. And, they created that scarcity that says, okay, living next to Snoop Dogg in the metaverse is worth this. Mm-hmm. Somebody can come around and say, yo, it's completely free to come be in our world and deal with X, Y, and Z. There's such a small amount of people actually participating in Web3. We have to hope that the behaviors don't mimic the current world and that there's not a lot of that enforced. But I know for me, I love the idea of Sandbox and Decentraland in those games. But, let me not even say this, because I thought I would never buy a freaking Fortnite skin. And after playing Fortnite for 2 months, I was like, hey, yo, hold on. Let me get my V-Bucks ready.
No, that'll get you stuck. Like me spending, virtual, VC and 2K.
Oh yeah, I can't. 2K22 is so hard, bro. Like this is a hard left from everything that we're talking about.
Yeah, we can talk. We can talk about that in different times.
Yo, I spun up 2K and got thrashed, man, by the computer. I wasn't ready. I'm like, nah, it's because they got Luca on the cover, bro. I don't know what's up with this.
Like I was like last night I was like going through a bunch of stuff like the metaverse and a bunch of like is it like, because I'm probably as hesitant as you when it comes to like the whole us transitioning into a digital world, because I'm not incredibly sure what that entails, and like human nature is always going to be at play. But then also there's a bunch of big companies and big corporations who are looking to put their hands in Web3 at this moment. Like Walmart has jumped into Web3 this week.
Did you see that Walmart the VR thing that they did, where they showed you what the VR experience? Microsoft just bought Activision for 70 billion, 68 billion. Mm-hmm. And there was a quote that they had in there, and it was the vaguest yet clearest sign that corporations are taking Web3 and the metaverse seriously. And so it will. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think anyone knows.
Because
what are you gonna say?
Yeah, because if the whole point of Web3 is to like decentralize it, but then we still have these big centralized
entities,
companies from Web2 coming in here to run these things in Web3. What's the difference besides us wearing goggles?
Well, that's the part where I'm saying like I don't know. It becomes this paradox, right? Where I talked about it earlier, where I would like to have nice things in my life, but not at the expense of others. Like I don't feel that everything has to be a zero sum game.
Mm.
So a big part of my mission is a balance of completely free and actually useful resources where I want to build things that will help connect people around the world and
Mm.
there's no barrier of entry and I can afford to do that by having other projects where I create value elsewhere that may seem objectively like a high price or a it costs a lot, but I think that it
It serves a
supplements.
purpose.
Well, yeah, it definitely serves a purpose. But I think again, going to that balance and trying to figure out with this space, right? So thinking about how the hell do we get millions of people into Web3 without the current gatekeepers opening us up to those millions of people? We don't have access to them,
Yeah.
and it's like, damn, that's a I don't know the answer to that. I think everyone is trying to get involved, and people like artists and creators and collectors like G Money and what he did with Adidas, where he's like, yo, okay, this is inevitable. So let's help you come into the space the right way.
Mm.
That's for me what I think is like our best possible solution is not excluding the corporations from it, but not becoming one with the corporations because that sounds terrible too. But in a sense, being able to hopefully help them change some of their mindsets, which I'm not very confident in that.
Yeah, because like corporations are going to corporation.
Yeah,
They're
literally,
gonna find
literally, like they're gonna
ways
care about
to
the bottom line. That's all
yeah, they're
that
gonna find
is.
ways to
So
commoditize everything. Like there was I forgot who he was the CEO, what he was CEO of, but he was said people are he said games that produce cryptocurrency for people will make people never want to waste their time again. Like they'll find their time so valuable when that they can play games and now make money. And the thing is, we don't have to commoditize everything. Like we don't have like everything doesn't necessarily have to be for profit. But if we're creating this world in which but if people like that are like the main voices trying to create a world where all of our actions like lead to like some type of profit, then what happens to free time and just like free enjoyment?
yeah, doing shit for the sake of doing shit.
Yeah, like I'm playing this game because I use it to make money, but now it's a job
Yep.
because me playing this game provides something for whichever company made this game, as opposed to me just playing because
But then I think, right, the whole concept behind universal basic income and why the hell does everything have to be commoditized? Like, can't we just have enough resources to live on and give you the opportunity to explore things that may be passion projects? And again,
and
kind of diving into the economic side of it. But
yeah, but and that's my exact fear with all these corporations getting into Web3 because corporations don't understand that aspect because everything is about data and numbers and how we can make whatever minute you spent, how can we be using that for profit? So then when we let these big corporations come into Web3, we did like the idea of decentralizing everything changes because now we're still playing by their rules.
man, Scott Galloway wrote an article the other day on, I think it's his No Malice series. I don't want to misquote that, but he wrote an article that kind of addressed this. I'm going to shoot that over to you because he was talking about how the majority of what we're calling Web3 really is already Web2, just with a costume on, or most of the financial backing is already held up in all of the same corporations and funds that we were kind of complaining about with the last structure. So it's interesting, man.
Mhm.
I think that life is a constant search for balance between what works and what doesn't, and what's going to provide the most value for people. I just want people to enjoy their lives. I think that that's like all it comes
Yeah,
down to for me. Where it's like how can everyone enjoy what they're doing without it taking away from someone else? The idea that there
Yeah,
is enough
like
out there for all of us, to me, is real in one sense or another. Maybe not in the capitalistic sense, but like,
yeah.
yeah.
No, I get what you're saying. Without exploitation, without the need for someone else to suffer for me to enjoy the moment. Which is
And then,
unfortunately what like life in America is, and that's a deeper conversation.
yeah, like we can't avoid it. Gee, I think
Yeah,
about that. Like I
no,
was thinking about the Dubai shit, and I'm like, wait a second, bro. I got an
yeah,
iPhone. I live in New York City, which I already know, like for the MTA to run, and even just the history there of so many things you enjoy. It's like, yo, how do you not end up?
yeah.
But
Like
then I
how's
think of the Baldwin quote: "To be a Negro in this country and be was it semi-conscious is to be constantly in a state of rage." I just butchered that quote.
right?
I'm not gonna
Yeah,
butcher that quote, but y'all can look that up. Y'all know where I'm getting at with that.
yeah, yeah. It's just like it's like yeah, because if you just want to sit here and depress yourself, every like convenience you have comes at like the cost of someone else's like safety or like maybe even dignity, and it's wild.
I look at a plastic essential bottle I have over on my table, and I think, damn, every piece of plastic that's ever been made is still here. It takes 400 years for plastic to biodegrade or to
Yeah,
degrade. That is little shit. Anyway, we are getting into a low key depressing note,
yeah.
and I don't
Yeah,
think we
so
got to say that.
let's hope Web3 fixes it all, and we can be happy at the end. You know, when we're in our goggles, looking like the people from Wall-E.
There's one thing that I really like, and we won't get to utopia. Nothing is going to be perfect, right?
No,
But this is one thing I say, and I've this has kind of been a theme for me, really, this past like 4 years. Is I only want to compete with myself. I want to take inspiration and cues and learn from everyone around me and be like, inspired by the great things that other people do and perform at a similar level. But I can only ever be better than who I was yesterday or who I
yesterday.
was a week ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't be better than another human. And I won't ever be a perfect me. It won't
Mm.
ever be done. That progress won't ever stop. I will be progressing until the end of my days. And there's apparently a term for it, a similar term when you think about societies called protopian instead of utopia. So protopia instead of utopia. And it's the idea that a society improves itself through slow and continuous progress, where it's just getting a little bit better. So Web3 probably not going to fix all of it. I don't even know what Web 4 is. Is Web 4 Neuralink? Is Web 4 when we're all brain chipped up and
Oh,
sitting in silence and just and then
oh,
Web
that's
5 is
funny.
our consciousness in the cloud?
That shoot. Just whatever sci-fi movie came out 20 years ago. I guess that's Web 4.
Okay, I got it. I got it. Because we're Mike, I love talking with you, man. We spent so much time over in Dubai, and we had got to link before, but the pandemic had slowed it up. We were supposed to get
Yeah,
around and chop. Spent so much time in Dubai. Clearly, like this has not felt like it's been an hour. It
yeah,
really hasn't. Like we have flown by in this. Talked about a bunch of different things. I really want to thank you for this. Thank you for taking the time.
yeah.
I'm
No
trying
problem.
to, yeah, yeah. I wanted to know. I'm trying to think like how I wanted to end it, but I got to keep it in just the vein of what we talk about, which sometimes just be random-ish. You mentioned sci-fi movies, right?
Yeah.
What sci-fi movie on both ends of the spectrum would you? Okay, no. Let me word this properly. So, two ends of the spectrum, really bad, really really good. If there was a sci-fi movie that you see, we have the potential of turning into reality. That would be really really bad. What would that movie be? And the good version. Wow, this is like I am wording this question so poorly. I hope you get what I'm trying to ask you.
No, I get you. Like That's a tough, like going through all of it. Like my worst idea is like Wall-E, which is like we've depleted this planet's resources and now we're just sitting around like in contentment. Like not contentment, that's the wrong word. But
we all
I,
fat rolling around on our little hover
yeah,
chairs.
yeah, we don't care. But like I've been really
Indifferent
just
towards
Black
society.
Mirror has been like the perfect like analogy for like all that could go wrong with Web3. Like the idea of like the worst episode of Black Mirror is like where this could go.
Yeah. That's why I don't know if it's true, but they said shit is just so weird right now. That's why they haven't put out any new ones.
Yeah, and they said that like 2020 before the NFT craze got a bit more mainstream. So now it's just even deeper into that vein.
I know the one episode that really scares me with Black Mirror that I could see happening is the one that was black and white. I think it's called Metalhead.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the survivors being chased by that robot dog.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one is that one to me is the most likely to happen and very soon. I don't know why I'm wording that that statement so poorly. Anyway, on the flip side of it, what would be the best case scenario for our technology to advance to that you've seen in a sci-fi movie?
Honestly, I don't know if I can think of one because like the moral of the story for most sci-fi movies is that when you stray too far from humanity, everything goes bad.
That's real.
Like is like that's really if you think of like most movies where it's like technology has gone to a place where human beings are happy and whatever, there's always some twisted messed up thing like happening in the background or off. That's why we have a plot for this movie.
That's real. That's real. Because as I'm thinking about it now, I'm like, I don't know if there's a movie. Every movie I would want to say, I would have to add a caveat. So
Yeah,
my answer would be Ready Player One, but we're not all living in trailers that are stacked on top of each
yeah.
other. Like,
Or it's like I Robot, but they don't turn on us. Like it's the whole movie.
iRobot would have been lit if the
If
robots
they
didn't
didn't
start
turn on us,
tripping.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like yeah, like, if the self-driving cars didn't lock us inside, yeah.
man. The trolley question is another. Okay, we could go on for hours, my G. I'm gonna cut it here. I
All right.
want to. I want to ask you two last questions before we go. Me and you need to have a little offline anyway, so let's get something on the books. But I want to ask you what your seed phrase is. And so the seed phrase is the quote or saying that sums up the idea and or tree that you planted here today.
Mm. Well, I think because of I guess keep the humanity in Web3.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. Keep the humanity in Web3. That's important, man. It really and there's a project. And see, now I'm gonna go off on another tangent. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, we can
Keep the
talk offline.
humanity. Yeah, keep the humanity in Web3.
Or just
Yeah,
keep the humanity. Just keep the humanity. We
keep the
need that in
humanity.
all of this.
I love it. We got the Michael Sims one of one Money Trees number 15 note that will go up for purchase after this episode. What is the reserve price going to be for this note?
10 billion Ethereum.
Ayo. Don't listen. Yeah, I don't know what I don't know if all my guests because I don't even tell people who are the guests ahead of time. If y'all are just getting up and deciding like, yo, Khufu is not gonna sell none of these NFTs anytime soon. We waiting for him to become a megastar. Not
Man.
okay. Is it really 10 billion? Is that the number? Are we? Is this
Nah, fam, who gonna
no one, literally no one.
No, who gonna buy 10 billion Ethereum?
I think that would. I don't even know what the max supply is of ETH, but if there was ever an NFT purchase for that price, I'm sure that it's become like Germany in the 1940s, where ETH is absolutely worthless. You're like, yes, I just bought it for 10,000 Doge.
Nah,
Well, Doge has value now. Doge ain't worthless. Let me not. I'm gonna have a whole horde of Dogers in my mentions. What's the real reserve price, my G?
Reserve price. On a point. Say like 0.05.
0.05
Ethereum. Like that's a realistic number if somebody actually want to buy it.
You know, I like what you said there, but I will also add this. It is realistic for now. I think that when people come back and see what Michael Sims has done with his career and how wild it was that he appeared on Money Trees on this January 18th, and they see a note for 0.05 ETH, they will think they have the come up of a lifetime. So, yeah, that's all I got for you, G.
Yeah, nothing. Let them have it.
Let them have it.
Let them have it.
See you on secondary.
All right, man.
My guy, yeah, thank you for coming through. This has been a hilarious conversation. Really, really fun catching back up with you. Me and you need to offline, keep it moving, keep it pushing. And
for sure. And if the situation in New York calmed down, we could actually see each other.
Bro, I'm so scared to go outside, man. The Omarion's still on their tour. You heard about the new one, the Deltacron or something like
the
that?
Deltacron.
Yeah,
Yo,
they out here
they just
mixing
putting them all
viruses.
together.
Yeah, they wild, man. We'll see. We'll see. Now, we definitely got to get up. We'll talk offline. I am out of here. You enjoy the rest of your night, G.